Welcome to Grey County Life on Rogers TV, and we are at home this week. Miss Mary Jane, boy, that was a stroke of genius because it's crazy weather out there today.
Oh my gosh, I am so grateful for Zoom because technically we were supposed to be back in the studio today, but it is storming where I am. That crash of thunder just made me jump. We've got my lights flickering, so I'm hoping I will still have internet as we go through the program today. But what crazy weather, because yesterday was so gorgeous.
It was spectacular. And I was going to say, Charlie's quite happy to be able to be at home today. That's for sure. He's spread out and relaxed. But yesterday was lovely. Mary Jane and I took a nice stroll in Harrison Park with Mr. Charlie, and it was beautiful and very uplifting. And yeah, really enjoyed that time out in the sunshine. Well, shouldn't say sunshine, but outside with you, Mary Jane.
Yes, it was a great day, and I never get to spend any time with Charlie Brown. Um, but he was just too busy to pay any attention to me. He just wanted to explore what was happening on the ground at Harrison Park. But it was a lovely little outing that we had.
Well, and after winter time and rain and that sort of thing, it's definitely every time I go for a walk outside, I'm reminded of how nice it makes me feel. So definitely, if you can get out and about, and I'm sure everybody had a lovely Easter weekend because I know that this show is going to be airing after Easter. Hope everybody had a good weekend and some family time, friend time, and just some time outside. I think it was good. It's planning to be good weather.
We hope. And spring is here. With the up and down weather experiences that we're having. But basically the snow's melting and we want to get out in our gardens and we want to refresh and brighten up our properties. And our dear friend Rob Didsmore, who did the set design for us through Rhonda Kirk's Decor and More. We haven't been able to really enjoy that studio setting, but looking very much to get back to it. But Rob is hosting a workshop coming up, and I know that this airs on Monday and his workshop is on Tuesday, but it's all about your front door and sprucing up your front door and making it welcoming. And it is at First United Church from 6 until 9, and it is Tuesday, April 11th. A little bit, we're just squeaking it in there.
So I'm sure you'll have more events in the future too.
I'm sure, and you know how talented Rob is. They do want you to register, and you can go to blushbyrobin@gmail.com to register for this event. And I think that's, once again, it's people coming together and celebrating spring.
Yeah.
There's another workshop too, and Marianne Thomas does an amazing job in inspiring writers in our community and highlighting and featuring their work. Well, there's another workshop coming up. And it's Sunday, April the 16th. We're on time for this one, from 9:30 until 4. And she has 10 local literary experts that are going to be on hand from all kinds of areas of writing. The registration is $95, and just check in, and it's at the library. So check in with Marianne Thomas at the Ginger Press because she hosts amazing either workshops or guest speakers in terms of authors and books that has been published in her bookstore.
Yes. So if you're thinking about becoming a writer, and I think that event is geared to a lot of different styles of writing, isn't it? It's not just your biography or your novel. It's a lot of different styles and applications, I think would be the word, but I'm not sure. So it'll be very interesting if you're thinking about putting your writing skills to use and making a buck maybe someday, which would be nice. It's always good.
And of course, she's encouraging everyone. It doesn't matter at what stage you are in your writing journey, from beginners to very experienced. She'd just like to see everyone coming out and learning more skills. So, she does such a great job. And then, of course, I have one more, and that is Elect Her. And you and I have been connected with Elect Her and how important it is to engage women in more around strong leadership in your community at whatever level you choose. And they host workshops on a regular basis. And this one is called Tips for Strong Community Leaders. And the guest speakers are amazing. And that is April the 25th at 7 p.m. And just go to the Elect Her website and you can register for the workshops. So we really encouraging more women to get out there and be engaged in a leadership role in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the feminine perspective is definitely something that needs to be at the table in any aspect. I just think it's a good thing, isn't it?
Well, it absolutely is. And, whatever level of leadership you choose is important as well.
Yeah. I mean, it can be as very intense time factor for women, with the role that they have in the home and in their families, and then work on top of that. It's very challenging, but we look forward to that. And Laura Wood, I think, is just an inspiration in our community as well. But we've got a fabulous show today with some music, actually music on both sides of it, even though not live, but for both of them. But we look forward to this show. And of course, we'll have Renee for our Adorable Adoptables segment at the end of the show. So stay tuned on Rogers for Grey County Life.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It was John's graduation. We were so proud. We all got together for a picnic. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and we listened. It helped us get to safety. That's why when I think of John, because now he has a real future to look forward to.
I'm Justice. And I'm Nia. And we believe dreams fuel revolutions. That's why we're engaging with Canadian icons and the causes they support. Join us for these inspiring conversations and find out how you can be revolutionary.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. We are Zoomed this week, but not for much longer. Yay! But we've got a very special guest in the house with us today. We have Norm Reintamm from the Georgian Bay Concert Choir, topic or a group of very talented people, very close to my heart, Norm, as you know. And we are here to talk about the next big event, Handel's Messiah. and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Norm, but I know that I have seen it performed by the concert choir, and it is stunningly beautiful. And all I've heard lately is how you have managed to make their sound even more beautiful than ever. How do you manage that, Norm?
Well, I don't know. It's really up to the choir itself. They do all the work. But I have to say that there is one really very special guest here with us today, and that's your friend right next to you, Charlie Brown. And
It's a bit of a dark spot on the screen, but yes, he is our third co-host, as Mary Jane kindly gives him credits.
Well, getting back to the choir, they've been doing such hard work over it's been about, I guess, a year and a half now working on this. That when we came out of COVID, then I was wondering what should we do in regard to preparation for this season. So I took the latter part of last season and started working on technique with the choir and how to sing this piece. And because Messiah really is quite a difficult piece of repertoire, that it's one of the most taxing pieces that I know. And insofar as technique for singing it, it's not easy for any choir to do this. And what I've really appreciated about our wonderful choristers at the Georgian Bay Concert Choir is how they've just really taken up the challenge with this piece and really appreciated what needs to go into it. And we had our first run through last night, and it was wonderful seeing the whole piece come together, because I guess as well as any artist, you start with basic building blocks, and then you build build up the assemblage, so to speak. And then last night, when the whole thing started coming together, the looks on the choristers are just fantastic, and they understand that this is the first, the first step towards the concert itself. And we were talking with some of the singers a number of weeks ago, and way back in the day, Ford had a commercial saying Ford has a better idea, and the light goes on top of the announcer's head. And last night was the light going on the choir's head, and just great to see the reactions on people's faces. But I have to say, at the end of the rehearsal, we got to almost to the end, and then I just looked at my score. I thought, do I go ahead or not? And I saw everybody was just completely drained, and I closed the book and I said, go home, see you next week. And they didn't know what to do with that, because they were all just, we're ready to sing. And when the conductor says, oh, that's it, I'm toast, you're toast, go home, let's go for a beer. And it was just a great scene there.
Yeah. I'm thinking you must have it must be a great sense of satisfaction hearing even the choristers themselves being astonished at the quality of the sound, and how, you carry on for so many years doing they've done that show many times, and it's always been well received. But all of a sudden they're realizing how improved the sound has become under your skilled tutelage. It must be very satisfying to you as a conductor.
It is, but I guess the satisfaction for me comes from seeing the light go on if I'm a teacher, then it's not, how can I put this? It's not my ego that needs to be filled here, that it's the understanding that the students or my colleague choristers they're appreciating this, and it really is up to them to do the work. I can give an understanding of how to do it and I try to impart this knowledge as best I can. But it really is up to the choir and the choristers to take that knowledge and say, okay, we're going to run with this and see this. And what, well, I did say it isn't about, yes, I'm lying. It is about my ego a little bit here, that just to see the smiles on people's faces, that's what feeds me internally. And if any teacher in a public school, high school, university, wherever, that if you see an auditorium full of students just going, then you know, okay, Houston, we've got a problem. But when you come out of a rehearsal and you see, A, they're tired, B, they're satisfied, but at the same time, they've got smiles on their faces, you think, the penny is dropped and we're doing good work here. And this is so important for me as a teacher. And one thing that I don't see myself at is sort of the stereotype conductor. That I really hate that term. That every once in a while, people come up to me and say, "Hello, Maestro Reintamm," and I sort of look around. Who's Maestro Reintamm? A funny story, when I was working in Europe, they really have the sense of hierarchy in opera houses there and symphony houses. And one of the orchestra members said, "No, we have to call you Maestro." I said, "No, you don't. I hate that term, that we're all musicians together." And they insisted, and finally I just said, "Okay, just call me Maestro Norm." And they didn't know what to do with that, and that stuck. But I guess what I'm trying to say here, it's not about me at all. It's about the choir and the musicians in the choir and the work that they do. And with Messiah, it's been a wonderful, eye-opening experience for me, and as a group learning this piece together. And it's really appreciative what you say, that that the sound is good and they're doing a great job. And thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's all I've heard.
You're going to have to tell us the details, because we want people to come out to this show. And we need to know when and where to buy tickets and what time it starts. So give us those basic details.
I'll do that right away. And Rhonda, in the pre-show that we did here, I gave Rhonda a bit of a heart attack, and because I like pulling people's legs, and I gave her the completely wrong date and completely wrong time. And you should have seen Rhonda's face blanch. And I promise I won't do that now. So, the concert is going to take place on Saturday, May the 13th. At 7:30 p.m. And this is in the wonderful building of the Georgian Shores United Church, which is right in Central Owen Sound. It's at 997 4th Avenue East. So again, Georgian Bay Shores United Church, May the 13th, 7:30 p.m. And tickets are $30 for regular tickets and $10 for youth and 13 and under. So, and the tickets are available online, or you can get them at Birgit's Bakery Cafe in Owen Sound. And I think the ticket sales site is Eventbrite, so you can access through the choir website. And if you have any questions about where to obtain tickets, or you want to get tickets over the telephone, there is a telephone number that you can call, and that's 519-372-1364. And if you want to go to the Georgian Bay Choir website, it's georgianbayconcertchoir.org. So again, Saturday, May 13th, 7:30 p.m. Be there or be square.
What time do the doors open? Because if you're starting the choir at 7:30, what time would the
I would
doors
say
open?
be there for 6:45 to gain entry into the church, because I believe, and I may be lying here, but it is festival seating, so there's no assigned seating.
Oh.
So if you get there for so that you can get good seats. So and also just meet some friends and enjoy just enjoy the venue itself. And if you by any chance get a chance before the show, maybe go and visit Shorty's, which is just around the corner from the concert venue. And just so that everybody knows, Shorty's has been very good to the choir, and they've been a wonderful sponsor for the choir. And we certainly thank Shorty's for all their help. And before I forget, Shorty's is the place for our weekly debrief after the concert too. So great place to go and relax and just enjoy a meal and have a quick beverage.
Yeah, the companionship, the fellowship of the choir is, I think, as much of the draw as it. I shouldn't say as much of, but as the singing, because it's awfully nice to be able to go and have a beer after the rehearsals each week.
Absolutely. Good food, good fellowship, and good libations are all part of the singing experience. And I remember as living when I was living in England and working there amongst choirs, that a major part of the rehearsal was the rehearsal in the pub, and that was really important. And what I'm really noticing about our choristers is that they're really enjoying coming out and socializing again. That one thing that was so missing during the time of, and let's not forget that COVID is still going on, but that we still have to be careful. But when we were in COVID, then we didn't have that socialization. This is so important now for us.
So how many people are in the choir?
I think right now they're, from just visually looking at the choir, we have approximately 55 people in the chorus. And what's really great to see is this, the number of men that we have. And they're just really getting into it. I think we have, if I'm not mistaken, 10 basses and 10 tenors. And I tell you, when they dig in and make sound, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And it reminds me of the Welsh choirs, that when the guys get together, and I have to be very careful here that it's not just guys in the tenor and bass section. We do have ladies in the lower sections. And so I have to retrain myself to say that choristers in the lower voice sections. So I have to be very politically correct here. But when you see the male choirs from the Welsh male choirs and from the States, the gospel male choirs, and when they dig in and make this glorious sound, then I see our choristers in the lower voices, and it gives you this. That because if you look at a choir, the lower voices are sort of the chair, the foundation of the sound, and it's what the altos and sopranos they rely on this. And now that we have this, they're singing out, and the sopranos and altos can take that and really roll with it. And when you have let's say 55 chorus members, and they're understanding that, yes, we can sing out and enjoy the sound that we make. It really is it's a glorious sound for me at the front of the choir. And I really wish that each member of the choir could come to the front or where I am and listen to the choir from time to time, so that they can hear this glorious sound. And because when you're in the choir, you hear your partners, you hear some of the sound that the guys are making. And I'm always stressing to the choir, you have to listen to each other. You have to really attune yourself to what's going on in the other sections, but you don't get this this wall of sound coming at the conductor. So anyway, it's a wonderful time that we're having these days.
Well, I wonder, Norm, do you ever record any of the performances so that it could be played back to the choir at a later time?
Yes, I do. And actually, I'm a little bit delinquent here right now, because I did record our last concert, and I promised to our choristers that I would have this ready for them 3 months ago. So
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to out
so
you.
you put me into the doghouse here. But to all my chorister colleagues at Georgian Bay, I owe you an apology, and please forgive me, and 30 lashes with a wet noodle, but I will get these recordings to you. But yeah, to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, I do record the shows, and I record some rehearsals too. For instance, the last couple of dress rehearsals will be recorded, so that as you know, with television or even with radio, you put that nasty thing called a microphone in front of people, and everybody goes, ah, and they don't know what to do with that. But that simulates the audience. And that little bit of camera or little bit of microphone saying, okay, we're now live on air, we're recording, that really puts that little bit of adrenaline going for the choir. And it just helps that final rehearsal process.
Yes. Norm, thank you so much for coming on and having this lovely chat with us about the Georgian Bay Concert Choir. And we are so looking forward to this on Mother's Day weekend. I think it's a great way to celebrate our moms out there. So we hope to see you at the Georgian Shores Church on May the 13th. Be there about 6:45. Thanks so much, Norm. We'll see you then. Have a great concert.
Thank you so much. Have a great
Welcome to the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Stalo people. The Stalo are people of the river. I'm so thankful for the courage and resiliency of our ancestors who lived on this land since time immemorial. Each of us have gifts from the Creator, and our Creator has a plan and purpose to be fulfilled in our territory. As we embrace our traditional teachings, we can lead the next generation into the fullness of what our Creator designed. Our shared history reveals a broken relationship, but as all Canadians commit to hear truth, acknowledge injustice, we can learn to walk in our traditional way, Letsamot, with a good heart and a good mind. Then all of our lives will be enriched. Kwasai.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Lovely viewers, it's your host of On the Couch, Antoine El Hashim, reminding you to tune in for every episode of Season 9 of the longest running and most loved local queer talk show on Rogers TV. Check it out.
Welcome to Grey County Life, and we are on the road. Charlie, I left him at home, my Labradoodle, and we are at the Meaford Hall in Meaford. I am so excited to say that we got invited to come to visit during the sound check for a concert that's being held actually tonight. So we won't be able to get to see it on the show next week when this gets aired. But these guys are on the road, but they started off here in Meaford. They have a connection that I'm hoping that Susie will share with us. And we have Susie Vinnick, Lloyd Spiegel, and Charlie Accourt. And these are the Roots and Blues Kitchen Party. And I have to tell you guys, I did go on Spotify to listen to everybody individually. And wow, enormous talent. But hearing you live together is amazing. Just amazing. The sound is beautiful. What brought you guys together?
We have the same agent, and so that helps. That's sort of simple. But Charlie and Lloyd met at the East Coast
Music Awards.
Yeah,
many years ago. We were Charlie and I were put together to write a song before we'd even met. They put us together online to write a song, and that's really how we met. So the first time I ever met Charlie, we walked on stage and performed a song together that we'd written separately in different countries. And then Susie and I toured earlier this year in Canada. You might have been able to tell already that I am not from here.
I was going to say that. You're from Australia.
I am.
You're from the East Coast.
I'm on the East Coast in Halifax.
Halifax, and you're from Saskatchewan.
Originally from Saskatchewan, and I live in Niagara now.
Wow.
So,
now, and everybody might actually recognize you a little bit because you've been in Owen Sound for the TD Harbour Nights, Summer Folk, and
music
that sort
at the
of
market.
thing.
Yeah. I played there a bunch, and I've been here at Meaford Hall. This will be my fourth. Well, tonight's show will be the fourth time. Yeah, and Charlie and I met too. I was going to say.
Yeah.
Years, like almost 20 years ago, at a festival in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So we've got these like individual connections.
These
Just getting
overlaps.
back to my simple answer, our agent put us together, but it's bigger than that. So Charlie and I, we've never done we shared a stage together, but we didn't play together.
Exactly.
That night. But we've known each other a long time, and I sang on his record, and so we've each done things together. And our agent, just getting back to that, She's works with all of us and kind of had an idea that I think they would work well together. So she started pitching it, and like it blew up into this beautiful 25 show tour that we're going to be doing starting here in Meaford tonight.
And did you do the album together?
Yeah,
Well,
so
how did that
after
happen? Sort of.
we had a bunch of like Zoom meetings to, you can imagine trying to herd the three of us together with different time zones and opposite ends of the globe.
16-hour difference.
It's
hard enough when we're in the same room, actually.
And so it started off with those conversations about what do we want, if we're envisioning what a kitchen party feels like and sounds like, what do we want to bring to the table stylistically? And then the conversation went to, okay, well, let's look at the tunes and who can record what in their respective spaces, and then it was all sort of amalgamated, and we were able, thankfully, I think one of the silver linings of having come through the pandemic is that a lot of artists really upped their game in terms of being able to record at home and have the access to creating their own studio spaces. And I think the payoff for the three of us is that it made it so much easier for us to get together. It wasn't insurmountable to think of, how do we have three people, different parts of the world, get together to record an album.
Yeah, so we recorded each in our own home studios, Lloyd actually recorded with a buddy who has a studio, and then sent tracks to each of us. We added in our studios, and then Charlie took on did the mixing of it all, and we would listen and sort of listen to the mixes and say, can we a little less of that or a little more of that or whatever. And it's nothing like it's an acoustic sort of base, like a kitchen party. You're in the kitchen, and typically it's guitars and, well, in East Coast sort of it's fiddle music, it's fiddles and guitars. With us, it's guitars. I'm playing bass, but like with some of the songs. But so it's not a lot, and then voices. So
it was more about wanting to have the focus on the three distinct personalities as solo individuals, as solo touring artists. And finding that common thread that weaves through the tapestry of what we worked on together.
Yeah, we're all front people in our regular careers, so we've all come from a similar place musically. We grew up on listening to blues and folk music and soul records, but because we've had different lives and different experiences, we've all sort of developed our own. It's like a bit bonsai tree-like. We've all developed into our own kind of thing and tell a different story about the same kind of life. And mixing those things together has been a great joy because we didn't know what was going to happen. We're still not 100% sure. But that's the idea behind the kitchen party concept, is that it's just three people who respect and love each other, sitting in a room making music together and inviting an audience to watch it. So, you know, it's something really unique for all three of us, I think.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of meeting Sarah Porter, your manager, your music manager, and she said, she told me actually that you have a collection of over 60 international music awards between the three of you, which is just amazing. Do you think that this will be the start of more collaborations? Like, I'm thinking another tour after this, or will
volume 2
do
perhaps?
You break
Volume 2,
up?
yeah.
Like, how do you go back to individual stuff?
Personally, I think, I mean, for starters, this tour is wonderful in the sense that we're only recently back on the road.
Yep.
And touring on your own is difficult, it's lonely. So traveling with friends, that was really part of the idea behind this entire thing, was we could sort of support each other and look after each other. For our mental health, that's been a really great thing. As far as what we do I think, you know, will there be another tour? Probably at some point. What I'd like to think is that it's kind of a bit like it would be pretty normal to go to an Eagles show and Jackson Browne would be there.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's artists that they're just associated with forever.
Yeah.
And I think that I'd like that to be the way it is with us, that it wouldn't be uncommon at any one of our shows to see one of us or both of us pop up, just to have that connection and that relationship. And even that, because we share a fan base in a way as well. So I'd like to think that it's you know, I love the idea of being able to call either of these people and say I need something on an album and know that they'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I have to admit, I had a bit of a selfish motivation behind that, because I'm thinking you guys have to come back and do Summer Folk as a trio. That would be incredible to have you there.
I mean, I don't think any one of us would turn down opportunities to be able to create music, and that's the thing. You know, we're vulnerable by nature, right? As songwriters and as musicians, and so we're driven to be able to connect, whether that's with each other or with audiences and listeners, you know, however they're accessing the music. And you know, the idea that we would put together this, you know, massive national tour in a way that, coming back out of the pandemic, we can all sort of lean on each other. You know, it's not all on one person's shoulders. Kind of lays a bit of the brickwork for opportunities down the line for collaboration, whether even if it's just songwriting for someone, you know, for Susie's album or Lloyd's record or even a Charlie record. And it kind of strengthens those bonds that we share between the three of us.
And I'm not entirely sure what Summer Folk is, but I've just experienced my first Canadian winter on my last tour here with Susie, and toured in the snow for the first time. So anything summer related, I'm in. I'm in.
Trust us, and I know Susie will back me up here. Summer Folk is an amazing event in Owen Sound, and it's all weekend long, and it's just, the audience is there because they absolutely love the music and they want to be a part of it.
The one thing you got to be careful though is that some are folk and some are not.
This is what I have to deal with for the next 6 weeks.
Wow, yeah, me too.
Now that brings me back to the idea that when you decided to do Roots, Blues, and Kitchen Party, we're coming out of COVID, we're coming out of this pandemic. People are still somewhat nervous about coming out. But I was talking with Sarah and she said, you know, this is music, stories, and laughter. It's something, you know, to get people feeling good, feeling positive, and hopefully getting them to come back out into the venues. And like I said at the beginning, hearing something live is just blows your mind. It's so much more connective, like you said, with the audience, with the group.
That's right.
How did you, is that what inspired you? What made you think Kitchen Party, except you're East Coast, of course, Kitchen Party, but is that behind your motivation here?
Well, I mean, from my experience growing up, it was kitchen parties on the East Coast. Men, not just friends or family, but even strangers from other communities kind of coming in, and people, if you might not necessarily speak the same language or agree on the same things, but if you played an instrument, you could connect with other people in other communities, and that's how, at least on the Maritimes, how that was the original social network. That was how the news got spread from one cove to another. And so as things progressed along, I think what for me has always come out of that is a certain aspect. You know, we all know what we do, we know how we do it, but we have a slightly different dialect. And there's a spontaneity that comes with that, which is really, really cool. And you know, Susie being multi-instrumentalist and a phenomenal singer, you know, lends it just opens up what the three of us can do as a unit. And so those things create some really fun opportunities, I think.
And if we were hanging out together anywhere, a guitar would come out, somebody would start playing, and everyone would get involved. And so the idea of just kind of letting the audience come in and watch that, because it's the laughing and the talking in the van. It's all of that kind of stuff that we wanted to share, and I think there is a real there is something very vulnerable about that for the artist, and to be able to welcome a crowd into really getting a much more intimate look at that kind of thing and those relationships amongst musicians. I think it's going to be a really unique experience.
Yeah, yeah. Your tour, you said 26 dates?
Yeah, 25 public shows and one is a private show. So but so 26
One
shows.
is a hush invite-only show.
Don't tell. Sorry.
How do we get tickets for that, Susie?
Yeah.
So do you guys all go on the same bus? Are you all the way to the West Coast, back to the East Coast,
have a bus.
North?
Oh,
What's this bus you speak of?
Do you have a bus?
I'm always asking for a bus at the office, but yeah.
No, we're strictly by private plane these days.
Yeah, that's right.
No, we're in a van.
Yep.
We're in a lovely van, and we'll
Amazing.
You know, and we do a bunch of flights, and we do a bunch of vans, and it's nice. I mean, I grew up touring by bus and train for a long time, so the van's luxury for me. But you know, it's 26 dates, and we start here, and then we head
To
east.
Whitehorse.
Yeah, my poor body doesn't know where it is at the moment.
West, it's west.
Yeah.
We're going to be going west to Whitehorse, west and north, and then back down to Vancouver, and that's where we get the van, and then we'll drive through. We do a couple shows in BC, a bunch Alberta and Saskatchewan, and then fly from Alberta to Ottawa, and get another van.
Hitchhike.
And do another no
Oh.
We join the circus.
Right.
Do a six-week run with the circus.
Yeah.
Then end up in Newfoundland.
That's the trapeze. That's when we get the trapeze happening. And
Nice.
yeah, no, and we'll drive to the East Coast and have a bunch of shows out east and end up in Newfoundland. And then we swim home.
And so logistically, that can be really hard to pull off, even as a solo artist. And so the three of us working together with Sarah kind of captaining the ship, and we had a lot of support from Canada Council for the Arts to believe in this tour, that it was worth scaling it up to a national level tour, and that makes the ability to connect these dots a little easier to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say. And touring historically on your own, has everybody been across Canada? But you've done that. But you've done a lot in Australia.
Yeah, I've toured. I've been in many countries now. I've toured Canada several times in small parts. If I did Canada all at once, I'd probably get home and have no family, no house. They all would have just thought, well, we thought you'd moved. Yeah,
a while ago.
So I've toured across the States a lot, Japan, Europe. Obviously, Australia is not unlike touring in Canada. You've got to be a little mad to tour in either of those two countries. Where a European tour, every day you kind of drive 2 hours and do the show that night. And that's in the Netherlands when I'm on tour there. I stay in the same house every night, and you'll drive 2 hours to the show, play the show, drive home every night for 3 weeks. So Canada, Australia, a little hard to tour, but well worth it, because each place you go, the people are so different. There's a different culture. I feel like I'm in a different country every night here. And Australia's a bit like that too.
So I know I searched each individual out on Spotify myself, but how can people follow along to your careers, to this particular tour?
For this project, they can visit asvmusic.ca. And so all of the shows are listed there, all 26 shows. You can get, the album is available on that website as well. There's little bios, photos, information. We also will be working with our social media as we tour. I don't know what kind of fun stuff.
Hashtagging ASV music.
Exactly.
Across the country, and we've all individually got our own socials that we're constantly sharing things towards and having a lot of fun on and taking silly photographs of each other.
Yeah.
That's the best
and
part
you never
of
know what
social
happened.
media.
When Lloyd and I toured in January and February, we did a thing called #Spiegel sighting. So Lloyd was always on the hunt for coffee first thing in the day. So if you got a picture of him before coffee, he was like Sasquatch. So we had a lot of fun. Kind of, we'd see spots and take pictures, and then Lloyd, there'd be like a David Attenborough type of the Spiegel. Do not disturb the Spiegel before he is continued. So who knows?
That's good advice.
That's just good life advice.
We might come up with. Who knows what we'll come up with our three brains? It'll be, and Sarah will be rolling her eyes constantly. So hopefully she'll still be able to drive. But
they say all advertising is good advertising, right? So that's a good thing, and spreading the word.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's creative and silly, and that that's part of all of this. And then that stuff translates. We talk to the audiences about it, and we see audiences, they get excited about the hashtags, and they type, "I can't wait to see you guys," and it's the sort of things.
That's what's exciting about a tour like this that goes for such a long time, that's a little bit unknown and a bit different for us, is that the tour itself helps the show evolve. Our friendship changes over that time, and the show evolves from it. So the show at the end and the show at the start are quite different, not better or worse. They just change as we change. And I that's what I'm particularly looking forward to, is kind of just watching that natural, organic growth of not just the friendships, but the music and the travel itself.
It's the rock and the tumbler thing, where we start off, things are feel a little rough, feel a little unsure around the edges, but we quickly, as professionals, we find our footing. We learn how to bounce off of one another, and I think that's what makes the show musically conversational.
Yeah. And it's that live interaction. We all require it and need it. And boy, we're really glad to have you. And thanks so much for inviting us today.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful, fantastic tour. And if you're interested in what's going on at the Meaford Hall, because there's always new things happening, it's meafordhall.ca. And be sure to come out and support them, because they're doing good things here. Thanks so much. We'll be back after these messages. Forget to join us next week on Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
And we're going to be talking about how important volunteers are for National Volunteer Week.
My husband is a wonderful man and a great father when he's not drinking. I'm so angry he chooses alcohol over us. If he really loved us, he'd stop drinking, right? My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon. I didn't understand why. I'm not the one with the problem, but I'm glad I went. Do you worry about someone's drinking? You are not alone. Al-Anon or Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Hi, I'm Lois Taylor. And I'm Diane Austin. And we're with It's Happening Here with Lois and Diane. And we're in downtown Owen Sound. Beautiful downtown Owen Sound. Nice sunny day.
Yes, we have lots of exciting things coming for you this fall.
We have anything from going to Rintoul's Pools and Spas. We're going to be going to Popeyes. We're actually going to be going to Treasure Hunt. There's so many things that businesses we're going to be seeing.
We look forward to seeing you all.
Come and join us on It's Happening Here on Rogers TV. Welcome back to Rogers Grey County Life. We're on Zoom this week, and we have a very special guest,
who's a little skittish with the crazy with thunder and loud noise and the rain that's coming. So we're so glad they were able to join us today. Miss Renee, how are you?
Well, Zoom made it incredibly challenging to hold a dog while holding a phone on a normal day. But we're listening to the thunder roar and excitement happening here. I'm going to do my best to keep her, in the show. She may vacate. I'm not sure. This lovely lady, there it is, up close, is Nova. And Nova is 4-year spayed female Alafa bulldog. What is an Alafa? I mean, it's hard to tell because she's sitting on my lap. She is, in theory, your English bulldog with a little bit taller legs, but definitely not as big as the Americans. So to describe her better, she is about 80 pounds and she is below my knee. So short and coffee tail is in theory what this dog is. She's quite, as I'm trying it out right now, energy level is quite low. So you could take her for a walk in the morning and she'd probably sleep all afternoon, and then a walk at night and she'd sleep all night, which is perfect
Renee,
for people who do a lot of exercise.
I was going to say, you've just described me. Short, stout, low energy, take her for a walk and she needs a nap. I mean, my goodness, maybe this is a match made in heaven.
Well, okay, I'll throw in the extra piece. Here's the but Nova doesn't like dogs. So Charlie and Nova would not get along. Have to keep her in a separate bedroom. But instead, Mary Jane, I know you don't have a dog. Maybe this is the dog for you. I'm gonna use it again. She already spayed, got her vaccines. All of her vetting is done. She is very well trained, with the exception of being strong on a leash, because let's be honest, she's a strong dog. But remembering she tires easily. So yay, only strong for 5 minutes and then it's easy. We recommend walking her with a gentle leader. We've been using it here. It does help. It does help us slow her down. But she does have that squishy little face, so it's not perfect. Come here, love. Turn around so they can see you. They don't want to see your bum. Come here.
And is it gentle leader just like a halty?
Yes, it goes on their face. Oh, lovely. Which helps us control their face. Like how much in that it is. The advantage is that it provides pressure to some pressure points that are over a halty for that reason. It's like a training tool at the same time. Beyond that, I use this dog, and if I could will it to happen, I could imagine her in a transport truck sitting out looking out the window with her lips flapping. I mean, she wants to be somebody's buddy. She wants to travel with you. That's exactly the home I want to see for her. Now, it doesn't happen. I'm not that if you think she'd fit, I'm willing to talk to you for sure. But for some unknown reason, maybe it's because of the dog she is, I am on a Mack truck. She would, in that case, not need to deal with dogs or cats, which she doesn't like. So it would work out quite wonderfully. Maybe you're a traveler, maybe dog to take. She's not going to hunt. She'll definitely go for the car ride. Again, all of her vetting is life expectancy of these guys is about 10 or 12, not as young as some of the other bullies. They don't live quite so long. Hers is okay. I mean, she's just in her prime, which is perfect. Here, can you come a little closer to the camera? She's like, nah, no. She's very. She's 4. She's 4. Come here, love. Come here. She's nah, I don't. There you are. There you are. There. Thanks. Okay, thanks. I'm clear. She's great with children. She'd fit anywhere. And now, when I say she's not good with dogs, smaller dogs, especially if you're an inclined person or somebody with dog experience who knows something about dogs, maybe you're not that scared about the dog thing. We'd have to talk. But I would prefer if you were somebody that you had for a long time, you've been thinking about it. This is the adoption you do because the dog needs, not necessarily because it's the dog that you want. Again, I don't know why you wouldn't want her, because I'm quite fond of her. Here she is. I would take her myself if I didn't have a pet. I do. She is crate trained. That's another bonus. We always love those crates. She does have all of her house taken care of, which is a huge advantage to taking somebody who's a little bit older. And I mean, just do it. Just do it. We really want to see her leave. Not that we don't want to see her leave. Apparently, she's not a fan of thunderstorms, nor are many of them. So it's something to definitely keep in mind. And that's where that crate comes in super handy, because you don't have to worry about meeting the couch. Yay for that. Right? You're not coming back over. No, I just went out of here. It's all good.
So I always check in with you about the animal we had on last week. And I believe it was Sunny, the cat.
Yes. And yes, Sunny has been adopted, and thank you for remembering, because as you started into that, I was like, gosh, I don't remember who it was. Yes, thank you for that. I'm glad you remember. Sunny has been adopted and all is well, and I'm super excited to say that I'm hoping next week Nova's going to be adopted too. Hoping.
Well, I know, Renee, you keep working on me.
I'm trying. You don't have a dog. You should think about it. This one. I'm gonna keep trying. If I have a minute, I'd like to mention a fundraiser that we have this weekend. We have the Easter egg hunt at the mall. It's mall 10 till 3 on Saturday. Now, we are not there doing the egg hunt, but we will be there with baby bunnies. Season of baby bunnies at the mall shelter. They will be going up for adoption, but we're not going to talk about that for Easter. They are coming socialize and to meet people. There will be a claimed Easter bunny available for photographs. That bunny you can see and hug, and those photos, proceeds from that are by donation. With a big dog slobber just hit me in the cheek. Oh my goodness. That is a donation. And of course, go to pay new deposit. I don't know if you saw that. I thought I'd just own it in case you did. Oh, good.
Well, you know what? As always, I think donations to our local shelter would be good for the spring. You know, we've got lots of animals that need help. So if you don't get out to the Easter event after the fact, that's wonderful too. But Renee, thank you so much for this week, and we will see you next week on Adorable Adoptables with Renee on Grey County Life.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injuries to